Hello there, Wolfpack. Catastrophe here, eager to grant you some catastrophic catnip to cure your curiosity. Have I ever told you I have a crush on Catwoman? It's true. Much like most DC fanboys, I absolutely love the classy cat burglar and worship the ground this kitty strolls over. Some folks have the feels for Harley Quinn, some have a love for Poison Ivy, but my Gotham City siren is and always will be Catwoman. And can you really blame me? She's just so perfect.
What are you looking at? It's a cartoon!
But there's more behind my admiration of the bad kitty outside of her hotness. I do truly love her character and persona as well, which has made her much more than the old school femme fatale most know her as. Created by Bill Finger and Bob Kane, Catwoman is a superb professional thief who's frequently crossed paths with the Dark Knight. However, she and Batman formed a constant love-hate relationship, leading to many dramatic struggles between the two. Some deeply intense and occasionally romantic, helping her stand out amongst Brucey's usual villains. There's been some attempts at making new Catwomen don the identity, but like Wayne's Batman, there's only one worthy of the title. Catwoman, aka Selina Kyle, is not entirely monstrous or evil as many of Batman's enemies are, as she's purely a thief more interested in taking treasures and valuable loot, rather than killing people or even enacting any monumental damage to Gotham City. More often than not, she actually finds herself aiding Batman from time to time, allowing the two to grow an understanding of one another, and see that there's more to them than meets the eye. Nah, Selina has become one of Bruce's most noteworthy encounters, as the two are so in love with each other and come around to desiring something more. But alas, the DC universe maintains their status as the ultimate will they won't they romance.
You can't deny there's something between us.
You're right. And I'm afraid it's the law.
Much like Batman and the Clown Prince of Crime, Catwoman is one of the most iconic characters of this franchise, lasting just as long as most of DC's mainstays. In fact, she was around literally since the first Batman comic book ever, establishing her as just as vital to Batman's world, nearly more than the Joker. Ah, remember back in the day when Selina's costume sucked? Catwoman was practically the original supervillain love interest, who acted as a foil to the hero, a common cliche nowadays, but Selina solidified this trope for what it is. According to Bob Kane, he made her a Catgirl as he thought it sharpened that mysterious femme fatale archetype she was intended to be in his saga. I felt that women were feline creatures and men were more like dogs. While dogs are faithful and friendly, cats are cool, detached, and unreliable. I felt much warmer with dogs around me. Cats are as hard to understand as women are. I concur. A unique decision which marked one of comic history's best leading ladies. So you get the gist. Catwoman is a magnificent maiden who's been around just as long as many DC characters back in the 1940s, is cherished by an ever-growing fan base, and is just as dynamic as Batsy himself. However, this being DC DC, this lovely lady has been reimagined, revamped, rebooted, and remade just as many times as Batman has, where fans still debate which kitty is the most dazzling gem from years worth of DC stories. We all have our favorite Catwoman, and often have a hard time choosing who was the best of the best. Sadly, unlike Batman and the Joker, Selina doesn't exactly have a definitive version of the character. For many, the ultimate Batman and Joker are usually Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, Christian Bale and Heath Ledger, or Keaton and Nicholson. Yet Catwoman is always up in the air. She's had countless spectacular actresses donning her claws. Many of them are awesome, and some aren't.
Cat got your tongue?
Well, not to brag, but I think this kitten knows a thing or two about his cat girls. After all, Selina did make me her partner in crime and gifted me a sweet pair of specs. Remember that? My epic DC showcase vid. Plug! You know I love this character, but who are my favorite actresses who provided her justice? Which Catwomen totally helped this classic character stay classic? What incarnations of the DCU's suavest thief earned their cowl? Grab your slickest claws and sexiest leather, cause we're prowling around the DC library to see. These are my top 10 perfect Catwomen.
No need to get excited. I thought this was supposed to be a party. Ooh, my kind of party.
Victory, yes, this chick instantly won me over as one of my all-time faves. Who would have guessed that Jade West, the hottest girl from Victorious, made for a ferocious Catwoman? Now, Catwoman Hunted is sadly a far from outstanding movie, but Elizabeth Gillies proves that she can make a fantabulous Catwoman. I love her sultry mood in this anime, and in spite of the movie's issues, it successfully makes this a fun version of the thrilling thief. The anime cat is a playful trickster in this, almost acting as a James Bond-style spy master, and truly shows off why Catwoman is a high-level badass who can fight toe-to-toe with Batman. In Gillies' flick, Catwoman is doing what she does best, trying to hit the big score, but finding herself in a whole mess of trouble, leading to the Master Thief pissing off the entire underworld of DC, where she fights to the end while having some mischief along the way.
I came here to kill the jewel thief.
You came here to try.
Cat fight?
Cat fight.
Anime girls are already ultra hot, so making Catwoman an anime girl was a designer's dream come true, as she looks gorgeous. Plus, they got the perfect voice to match. This was honestly the ideal fan cast I can think of, since Gillies has shown that she's very talented at playing snarky mystery girls before, so she was an A+ choice. I was impressed with how great she was, that she just disappears into the role for me, and I do hear Catwoman every time she talks. Liz just has the teasing tone of voice, the laid-back attitude, the quirky love of kitties, and yes, even the cheesy one-liners, which make the cat super unique.
In any case, it's 2 against 1.
3 against 1. Okay, 2 against 1.
Her movie thankfully enhances this performance, as Selina is shown in full light as both a snappy, charismatic thief, but also a secretly nice, caring person underneath her jerk demeanor, as Catwoman does come around to trying to do some good in the world since she's not totally heartless. A key element as to why most love this kitty. Catwoman Hunted is basically a good version of Birds of Prey, with genuine love for this cat. Gillies is simply a fun Catwoman, as she jokes her way through many battles in a similar vein to Spidey, but she also captures Selina's gray morality, teased all throughout. Not to mention her ridiculously hot sex appeal.
Alright, Selina. Enough with the faux sexual tension.
Honey, there's nothing faux about it.
I love Gillies as Catwoman so much that I really hope she returns to play her again and again, since she's easily one of the best I've heard from the direct-to-video content. The only con is that so far, she's only played Selina once, while the other gals have more time or are more mainstream. Nevertheless, Elizabeth Gillies is a delightful Catwoman who'd I'd hunt any day.
Oh, come on. Not the face. That's my moneymaker. Or one of them.
Oh, always trying to declaw me, Batman. Which is why I must clip your wings. Permanently.
Yes, sirree, Bob. I sincerely think Nika Futterman from The Brave and the Bold is the most underrated Catwoman ever. How did we not appreciate this Selina before this show ended? Keeping in line with the random Star Wars actors as Batman foes coincidence, this version of Catwoman is brought to life by the same actress who gave us Asajj Ventress, which you can totally hear if you listen closely.
My real prey is, and shall always be, Batman. The pleasure's all mine, my dear Obi-Wan. I've missed you.
Wow, never mind fighting a Jedi Master, Batman has officially dated a Sith Lord. In all honesty, I genuinely believe Nika's Catwoman is also a ton of fun to watch, and unlike Liz, she's allowed to interact with Batman in a more cute version of their romance.
Batman, couldn't let the cat have a yawn for 1 minute, could you?
Surrender and save me the trouble of putting a leash on you.
Extremely big shit.
Nika is mostly known for her more tomboyish, in-your-face voice acting, so I was surprised at how good she was as a sensual feline. Her take is definitely more of a retro femme fatale, which completely fits with Brave and the Bold's wacky world. I also like how they proudly use Selina's dress outfit, which, yes, is very impractical for a super thief to wear, but it helps make this version of her different, and not fade away with all the black costumes we're used to by now. This costume is certainly silly, but it is great seeing it in animation form. So great that Catwoman Hunted actually paid tribute to this look for us hardcore fans. But remember, Nika's version worked it first. Now this Selina was mostly downplayed, but she did have enough time to shine when she was on screen. Nika solidified herself as one of my faves on the legendary Birds of Prey episode, where she's hot, epic, and totally hilarious as she roasts her pitiful rivals for Bruce's affection.
On the bright side, at least we don't have to hear canaries sing anymore. I love you too, dear.
While not as scandalous as most cats, I love Nika's energy and sassy smart mouth, as they do make the most out of her G-rated material. The only bad thing is, sadly, Brave and the Bold was forced to downgrade her costume later, and it is awful. Ugh. This might be my least favorite Catwoman outfit, and I'm saying that in a run that includes Halle Berry's look. Regardless, I find Nika amusing, since she's got the chill, the smug catitude, the flirtatious fun, and the over-the-top chops to portray a smooth Selina.
What can I say? I'm a girl with a taste for only the finest.
Oh boy, looks like we're already at my divisive opinions. Prepare for grumpy cats.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much yummier.
I won't sugarcoat it. I have mixed feelings on Batman Returns. I never saw it as a perfect Batman sequel.
Boo this man!
I just never quite got into it, but my personal feelings aside, I do agree that Michelle Pfeiffer was a phenomenal Catwoman. Tragically, she makes it low on my ranking since I only really love her in certain moments, but never liked her origin or Tim Burton's reimagining of Selina as a crazy bitch. Catwoman is supposed to be one of the more grounded villains, and yes, while she does have her own baggage, I never saw her as a psychopath who has Twitter meltdowns and hissy fits.
We shared some laughs, but it's just not me.
With that said, I do hold great respect for Pfeiffer's Selina, because exactly like Keaton's Batman, this was the first version of the character where mainstream audiences finally took this icon seriously. Back in the day, DC's heroes and baddies were looked down upon as goofy, campy kid stuff. Burton's Batman flicks were revolutionary, as it showed the world that superheroes could be dark, dramatic, and mature. And thanks to Pfeiffer, she gets points for establishing a more complex Catwoman compared to the Cat Pungeon Masters. Pfeiffer totally owns this role, as she portrays Selina as some poor loser looked down upon by the cruel world of Gotham, transforming into the sultry, sinister Cat Warrior, looking to scratch back at everyone. I do like how this Catwoman initially begins as an outcast nerd girl who gets dumped upon by everyone, until she eventually becomes reborn as this smoking hot femme fatale with the confidence she desired, as that makes her quite interesting compared to her simply being a super thief Batman stumbles upon. Batman Returns focuses on showing how alike Bruce and Selina are, which was the flick's strongest theme of identity struggle, as well as pure tragic romance. Pfeiffer also stated that she really did practice whip training to get into the role, which certainly grants a badass edge Selina should have. Batman Returns also made Kyle's skin-tight black catsuit iconic, as this would become the base design for most of the Cat's costumes. Pfeiffer is well known for playing seductive, sassy ladies, so she was a perfect choice for Catwoman, as she carries her questionable nature, playful arrogance, and introduced a sympathetic side to the stray outcast. Catwoman is often cited as the best character in Batman Returns because she wonderfully captures the magic of the Bat-Cat ship.
Mistletoe can be deadly if you eat it.
But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it.
My kind of party.
I remain a bit unimpressed by Burton's attempts at making Selina this Frankenstein's monster-esque weirdo who literally behaves like a feline, since that's not precisely who this person is. But I won't deny that Pfeiffer has paved the way for Selina's rise in popularity, thanks to her rad catitude.
Life's a bitch, now so am I.
You got a lot of cats.
Never think about strays.
That's right, I actually did enjoy Matt Reeves' The Batman. And the cherry on top is Zoe Kravitz as Selina Kyle. What places her above Pfeiffer in my cat eyes is that I love how comic accurate this Catwoman is. Sorry, Burton fans, but I do prefer the adaptation remaining faithful to the source material. Kravitz portrays a much more jaded, sneaky, and angry Selina, who walks the line between good and evil, yet also goes through her own origin story, where she's slowly evolving into the Catwoman we all know and love. I like how her Catwoman is basically this hero of another story, as she crosses paths with the Dark Knight when they're both solving the big riddle. Not to give away spoilers, but this Selina gets most of her backstory from The Long Halloween, including the implied twist of her secret heritage, allowing Miss Kyle to have greater stake in the plot other than being Brucey's lover. Kravitz also played this kitty before on the Lego Batman movie.
Meow meow, you're in! Meow meow.
A choice which I'm sure led to her playing the character again in the adult movie. Zoe legit feels like the Selina we see in Batman Year One, growing up just as much as Bruce Wayne does, as this movie gives us much more of Selina's moral struggle, and ultimately builds up to the Cat and the Bat working together at last. Zoe plays a much more angry Catwoman, but unlike Pfeiffer, she keeps her cool throughout most of her adventure, and appropriately only opens up to Bruce once the two increase their level of trust in each other. I believe she helps make the Batman entertaining, as she acts as the perfect foil to Bruce, which made this character so beloved for years. This Ice Queen defrosts her cold shell when connecting with the Bat, which is so touching.
Just don't make any moves without me, understand? It's a little more dangerous than you know.
I told you, baby. I can take care of myself.
The only negative I have is that Catwoman says something very racist in this movie. It's so awkward, cringy, and kinda out of character for somebody like Catwoman to say. Not helping matters is that Zoe herself did lose points, acting like a freak on social media. I bring this up since it's why I don't view her as the #1 cat ever like most have.
You're attractive, Catwoman, but not that attractive.
Plus, we never get to see her don the final Catwoman outfit at all, only getting her prototype catsuits, which don't even look half as good as Halle Berry's wardrobe.
Why are you wearing that ski mask? Because you're not skiing!
Personally, I thought this was one of the better anti-heroic Catwomen, as Zoe Selina is a jerk with a heart of gold, who does what she does out of desperation to survive the mean streets of Gotham, rather than being a card-carrying villain who loves the destruction. I know we hardcore DC fans have seen this before, but Zoe achieves credit since she was the best to do so in a mainstream movie, allowing the normies to see why Catwoman's complicated. At the time of this video, Zoe has only been Selina for a short time, but I'm eager to see her play Catwoman again, hopefully in her final form, so she and Batsy can dance the dark romance, and looking good while doing it.
The bat and the cat. It's got a nice ring.
Hello, good looking. Nice cowl. Really sets off your chin.
Gina Gershon's Catwoman is a national treasure. I truly think she doesn't earn enough credit for her thrilling, upbeat take on the character. As I once said in my top 10 Jokers vid, the Batman basically remakes the Dark Knight and his cast into anime-esque characters to stylize this cartoon up. So this Catwoman is revamped into a pretty ninja girl with an Egyptian cat motif, which is only elevated by Gina Gershon having the time of her 9 lives playing up her Catwoman voice. I love the direction the producers took with this version, since it had to be hard to outdo Batman the Animated Series' triple S rank level of Batman's rogues. The ninja angle truly shines. Who would have figured the psycho lesbian from Bound could portray such a sensual Catgirl ninja? Almost all of the Batman episodes featuring this Catwoman are amazing. This variant scored double points for all the incredible comic book scenarios she clawed her way into. Gershon's Cat not only dukes it out with Batman, but we get to see the duo fight the Yakuza, banter with each other like an old married couple, combat rivals like Joker and the Penguin, venture through a most dangerous game-style maze, and my personal favorite, that epic three-way battle she had with Batman and her rival thief Ragdoll in a cool clock tower level. This was a Catwoman who wasn't only charming, but got to partake in epic stories, allowing her to show off.
Batman and Catwoman connected?
He looks tall, dark, and handsome.
Consider Selina Kyle. Curious.
Well, are you coming down, or do I have to come up?
Catch me if you can.
Much like the rest of the show's art style, her appearance is so memorable and creative. Although this Catwoman never gains an origin story or even a deep look into her character, I value Gershon as one of the most fun cat burglars on this list. She makes this new incarnation of Catwoman work thanks to her charm, clever wit, aloofness, and unpredictability, making her so endearing. This is a beyond beautiful kitty.
You mean like Gina Gershon beautiful or beautiful beautiful?
I really like Gershon's enthusiasm and mischievous streak, because this was one of the first incarnations which really made me like this icon when I was a kitten. I'm shocked that DC doesn't hire Gershon to play her more, because she's so enjoyable to watch. Heck, she actually made Catwoman seducing Tom Kenny's Penguin hilarious. For a character who had minimal appearances, she truly had sweet chemistry with all the castmates she played off of.
I wonder what it is that motivates him, and if there is some ultimate punishment he has awaiting us.
Punishment? You mean something worse than being stuck here listening to you?
Slick, stylish, and smooth, Gina Gershon's a rare jewel among the felines in her own right.
Hate to cut our first date short, cutie, but I like to leave a man wanting more.
I know that Batman and Robin will swallow the bait, and when they do, I'll be rid of that dynamic duo once and for all.
Now entering my top 5 prized kitties, the best finalists of all time. Up next is Julie Newmar from the Adam West Batman era. Of course, the first actress to ever play her would be on this list, and after seeing her in action, how could she not be? Julie Newmar is easily the hottest live-action Catwoman, capturing the raw sex appeal, flirtatious confidence, and over-the-top femme fatale act that is Selina. I know the Adam West show was much safer for families, but I think Miss Newmar was easily one of the funnest villains of the show, keeping up with such talents as Cesar Romero's clown bit and obsolete man Ernest Borgnine's zaniness. This was a character so good that Anne Hathaway would desperately try to copy her fashion, but there can be only one Julie Newmar. Sadly, this version of Catwoman doesn't quite fully reach the anti-hero status, but much like Gershon, she is a super fun and suave Selina.
Hello, Batman.
You're a rare lady, Catwoman. You're right on time.
I'm rare. In more ways than that.
Extremely big shit.
She's mainly the old-school cartoony villain the comics did create originally. I don't understand how she gets overlooked, because contrary to popular belief, the Adam West series was faithful to the comics, since people forgot that comic books were silly and exaggerated back then. Naturally, they evolved by now, but this show was fitting the style of comics at the time. Plus, as silly as Newmar can be, I do believe she was able to maintain the playful fun of the Bat-Cat ship. I mean, come on, how can you not enjoy the everlasting love between Bruce and Selina with these classic stars?
I'll do everything I can to rehabilitate you.
Marry me.
Everything except that.
Now, I know some folks will bring this up, but yes, this Catwoman was played by multiple other actresses due to scheduling conflicts with Miss Newmar, but I cherish Julie as the best to don the claws, as she was the original gem who made Catwoman a household name. An accomplishment that shouldn't be blown off as nada. She was so loved in this role that Newmar was brought back on numerous DC projects, including some where she played the cat one more time to finally hook up with Adam Wee. I also love how this Catwoman never gets involved in many fights, since her strongest weapon is her allure, which she successfully uses to dupe the dynamic dunderheads countless times. Only Julie Newmar could be a Catwoman so hot, she literally knocks guys out.
I'll give myself up on one condition.
What's that?
We run away to Europe together, sip tea in a cafe, and live happily ever after.
Wholly unsatisfying ending.
You knew I'd follow you. Just like I knew you'd come up here.
You don't know anything about me.
Yep, Cameron Bicondova from the Gotham show was so good that she made me admire Kid Catwoman above many of her older counterparts. Now, I gotta warn the idiots out there that no, I am not attracted to a child. Who do I look like, Allison Mack? This gal was easily one of my favorite Catwomen since she feels so much like how I imagined her youth. Selina is blatantly toned down since on Gotham nearly the entire Batman roster is much younger for the sake of offering Gotham City's most iconic characters deep origin stories detailing their rise to power. Selina's of course one of the kid Batman enemies who grows up over the course of the series into the great Catwoman, and I absolutely adore this little lady. She and Brucey are so precious together.
Hit me, and I'll let you kiss me. Ha!
It's too cute! It's disgusting!
To be fair, I totally buy that this chick is what Catwoman was like as a little tot. Many claim Zoe Kravitz was the first comic book accurate Selina, but honestly, I think Miss Bicondova won that status before she did. Gotham pretty much shows exactly what most of us thought Selina's life was like on the street. She's a cynical orphan who steals from the rich and does what she does just to survive, acting almost exactly like a stray kitty herself. We see that she does have skills at swiping stuff from buffoons in her way, shows off her parkour agility from years of roaming around the large Gothic town, and eventually she gets trained by martial artists to expand her future badass skills. All this is topped off by Cameron Bicondova's phenomenally exceptional performance. Her best scenes being her snarky banter with the other Batman icons.
You little bitch. Please. Try it.
Well, Selina Kyle turns out to be the hero.
I'm no hero.
Most of her memorable moments of the show are naturally her interactions with young Bruce Wayne, where the writers have so much fun laying out the blooming romance between them. I sincerely believe she was one of the best characters of the show, due to her actually feeling the closest to her beloved interpretation, as well as generally being an endearing character on a show which was often grim and dramatic. She had a lot of story arcs compared to most cast members of the show, many of which mold her into the crazy cat lady she's destined to become. The Gotham show provided a ton of love letters and homages to its big-named baddies, and Selina benefited greatly from it, as she captures elements from all the best Catwomen prior to her. She has her will they won't they ship with Bruce, she looks eerily like a young Michelle Pfeiffer, has the bizarre cat resurrection scene, battles Batman's other foes alongside the Knight like she has in past stories, and they even give her the odd animal habits of Halle Berry. You know these writers truly want to earn love from you cat fans when they even reference Halle Berry's mess. Although Cameron's too young to play the hotness card, she definitely makes up for that by revealing Selina's personality underneath her tough facade. Her Catwoman is more cynical, sarcastic, playful, and gray than most foes. This is the first live-action Cat which perfectly demonstrates Selina's love for playing both sides, as she often finds herself joining the heroes and villains whenever it suits her, something which made her original counterpart quite entertaining. Luckily, the kid status allows Cameron to explore more of Selina's life before she became a villain, making her vastly different from other incarnations who are already there. Plus, I think remaking Bruce and Selina into a childhood friend romance adds a lot more depth to their ship. Since being foils to one another, it makes the journey of them growing up together deeper, as it's showing us how similar they truly are. I sincerely hope Gotham won't be the last time Cameron plays Selina, since it would be fantastic if she returns to the role sometime in her future, finally playing a grown-up version of our cat lady. Technically, the show did have a future look at Selina, but I honestly don't count it because that finale was whack. It really says a lot about how great Bicondova was when fans were upset she was replaced by an older actress in the final episode, because she absolutely won her kitty treat. Cameron just has the charisma and fun persona that she made a kid Catwoman so engaging to follow, absolutely spiraling into a fan favorite on the same field as Gotham's Penguin and Riddler. I cannot highly praise this variant enough, since Cameron's Selina was so grand she made Catwoman epic even when she was still a cat girl.
Don't ever tell me what I have to do.
So you do have feelings for me? I'm confused.
Good.
Don't you know not to corner a wild animal? It's dangerous.
Finally getting to the gals who played Catwoman in multiple projects, meaning you know these are a perfect breed. Voice actress Laura Bailey became one of my all-time favorites from, what else? The Batman Telltale series. I worship this video game saga and consider it just as golden as the Arkham saga. Why? Because this is the first Batman tale where players can actually date Catwoman.
I was hoping for something more than that.
OMG, 1,000 out of 10. Platinum Icon Masterpiece.
Shut up and take my money.
Alright. Outside of finally allowing us Catwoman Sims to live out every Bat fan's fantasy, the Telltale saga truly does make her the Catwoman of our dreams. Won't lie, Laura Bailey did take some time to win me over. Much like Anthony Ingruber's Joker, when I first heard Laura as Catwoman, I was unimpressed. I love this Catwoman design since evidently the developers based her costume on the Arkham Asylum concept art that went unused, yet it was hard adjusting to the voice. I've heard Bailey in a ton of great work, but her Selina just came across as a watered-down lust to me. She's great at the sizzling voices, but what really backs her up was the amazing writing behind our kitty. To be honest, this version of Cat Lady feels like a nice mix of the Arkham series Selina and a grown-up Cameron Bicondova, as we see her tragic lifestyle as one of Gotham's many poor citizens, but also get the playful, sassy, badass Grey Griffin rewarded us.
Bruce, was it? Charmed.
Enchanté.
Oh, I didn't know this party was so formal. You look good. Not great or anything.
You look great too.
I didn't say great. I said good.
Okay, duly noted.
Do I have to do all the work myself? Or are you gonna undo this for me?
My kind of party.
Because Telltale is not a AAA game studio, they were more talented at story-based game narratives, almost in the same vein of visual novels, but with lots of choice-based gaming. Simply put, this is a Selina who we got to know more over the course of a story arc, and the audience has the power to build a relationship with her, where Catwoman's character gets displayed more, and she can evolve into a more heroic anti-hero who loves Brucey, or she can remain a foe just as bad as that psycho ex-girlfriend Talia. Funny enough, Laura has also voiced the cat in Lego games, just like Zoe, yet most fondly cherish her from the more adult story. Apparently, starring in Lego stories leads to big stardom. I can't wait to see the Scooby Gang get their R-rated epics.
Gee whiz, gang. Looks like the killer gutted the victim, strangled him with his own intestines, and then dumped the body in the river.
Jinkies, what a mystery.
You're right, Scoob. We're dealing with one sick son of a bitch.
Laura's voice is alright at the start, yet she slowly grows into the role once Selina gets closer to the bat. She initially tries to be the cool chick, but whenever she dons the cat goggles, I think it works better, as she oozes confidence and seamlessly alters Selina's personality when things intensify. This timeline establishes Catwoman as the first real villain Batman brawls with, and she is not only kick-ass, but also fun.
Gotham needs a hero. Someone to hunt down people like you.
So that makes me, what, a villain? Sounds fun.
Truthfully, this Catwoman is made exquisite mostly thanks to her romance side quest. I know it's optional, but not only is it a wet dream come true, but I do love how we start to see more of Selina's nobility she hides behind her villain act.
You should know by now, Bruce. You can trust me.
This being a choice-based game with multiple story branches also allows Laura Bailey to play Catwoman in many different lights, so she can be a vindictive, selfish bitch, or the cuddliest softie in the world, making her very special. A true master thief, as she's stolen my heart.
You are not leaving here with that.
Oh, honey, I'm already gone.
Hooey, the final two. This was a hard choice for me to make, as the top two are the actresses hardcore fans still debate over who was the better Catwoman to this very day. So it wasn't easy for me, yet I made my choice.
You know what, Isis? Extinction's for wimps.
The DCAU truly had perfect casting choices, as most of this cartooniverse had endless fan-favorite actors portraying DC's greatest heroes and villains. Naturally, with Miss Barbeau being fondly respected as one of the best of Batman's lovable rogues. Much like Julie Newmar, Adrianne Barbeau was a famous sex symbol among the world, so it made sense to have somebody talented at playing total bombshells to portray Batman's first femme fatale frenemy. Akin to Hamill and Conroy, Adrianne practically is the voice Bat fans always hear coming from this character. She just naturally syncs up with Catwoman's personality so well.
You're hot.
Now you notice.
The Timverse was masterful thanks to having some of the hottest DC characters, for both men and women, so Selina was no slouch in her sensual slickness. Heck, even when the show underwent those bizarre redesigns in the final season, she was still pretty hot. Adrianne made a sexy Felix the Cat look somehow work. That takes real talent. Topping all this off is her excellent chemistry with the GOAT of Bat Boys, Kevin Conroy. She and Conroy had such phenomenal banter, which made the Bat-Cat ship what it is.
Let me guess. You needed a warm place to spend the night.
Kind of.
I know of one. Jail.
I believe what made this Selina so beautiful was not just her strong writing as a complex character, but Barbeau sounds so natural. She never seems like a Catwoman putting on an act or trying to hide her insecurities like the lower-ranked gals. But this suave, confident troublemaker is who she is the whole time. And just like Laura Bailey, this is a Catwoman who actually receives some deeper character development. The animated series doesn't entirely treat Selina as a villain forming schemes the Bat interferes with, but instead she gets arrested and exposed as a criminal early on her debut adventure, where the team offers stories revolving around Selina trying to reform as a good Catwoman, falling back into her old ways, or giving us a fair share of both, showing us how the Cat likes to play both sides.
I bet she does. No, not like that.
Many of these scenes where Selina debates herself and hits a snag in her love life with the Dark Knight reveal the complex side, which made her a morally gray character. Heck, even Bruce has a hard time figuring out whose side she's on, and years into the future, he's still heartbroken that things never worked out between him and the love of his life.
Let me tell you about a woman named Selina Kyle.
Essentially, the animated series made Catwoman a female version of Batman. This Catwoman is capable of performing good deeds and uses her alter ego to fulfill greater goals, but she finds herself face to face with the Bat because her selfishness and broken moral compass lead her back down the dark side, perfectly capturing how alike the Bat and Cat are, but also reminding us of the real reason why these two can't be together as well. Not only does Barbeau perfectly flex her hotness skills, but she flawlessly displays Selina Kyle's dramatic tragedy and inner turmoil whenever the show got real.
Why did you do it, Selina?
I have to be who I am. I realize now I can't change that. Like I told someone else tonight. It's just the cat in me.
Sexy, charming, intelligent, mysterious, quick-witted, and intriguing beneath the mask, Adrianne Barbeau shall always be one of the best cat burglars of all time. But alas, there's another.
You did all right.
All right. I was brilliant.
Before we move on to our number one, here are a few honorable mentions.
I say it's crazy, but I say let's try it.
Is there even such a thing as a normal family in this city?
No best-dressed list is complete without the addition of the queen of criminals, the princess of plunder, yours untruly.
A perfect fit. We've done this dance for so long. Aren't you just the least bit curious?
What's the last thing you did for the environment?
Well, when's the last time you stole a jewel?
Girl, please. I'm never not stealing jewels.
You boys thought you could come in here and steal all these beautiful things? What a perfect idea.
And the number one Catwoman is...
Batman!
What the hell?
Sorry to disappoint you boys. It's just little old me.
Holy cool kittens, Bat fans. Grades Allele Griffin just blows away the competition with her wicked voice. Is that the name she's going by now? Grades Allele Griffin or Grey Griffin? I can never tell since she's always flip-flopping. But we all know who this chick is. Grey is considered one of the best voice actresses of our time, as she practically played somebody from your childhood, and is still popping up in tunes and commercials to this very day. Griffin began her debut as Catwoman in the critically acclaimed Arkham video game saga, and was so great that she continued playing the Master Thief in other fun DC projects, such as the Injustice games, cartoons, movies, Lego, parody classics, and so on.
Meow.
She's one of the few actors fans praise over the live-action incarnations, as she wonderfully breathes life and depth into her Catwoman, outclassing even the big names of Barbeau, Kravitz, and Pfeiffer. Now, before people decry her rigged victory, she does score major points from me, since she's one of the rare actresses who got to play this icon multiple times, and was so good that other canons requested her to play Selina frequently. She wins out not only thanks to a great performance, but experience being the character in other DC gems too, thanks to her great performance. Barbeau never quite broke out of the DCAU, and most of the live-action gals are solely known for one run on the character, whereas Grey got to show multiple shades of our kitty, and is currently the go-to voice for her, meaning DC fans and execs consider her on the same level as Alien X's Batman and Luke Skywalker's Joker. To her credit, she deserves that honor. Grey never phones it in or copies another actor's take, but offers Selina a real sassy, Sly Cooper-ish edge. You gotta admire her. Grey just sounds so fun in the role, as she shamelessly throws her all into it and sells you on Selina's sexy power.
Time for some girl-on-girl action.
Some folks point out how she recycles her Azula voice, but I only think that adds more to the clever trickster Catwoman is famed as. I think it goes without saying that the Arkhamverse has the definitive versions of Batman and most of his characters, with Grades Allele Griffin's Catwoman being paws down the greatest interpretation of Bruce's tsundere. The Arkham Saga Catwoman is my favorite one, since she basically feels like the fully fleshed out Catwoman we fully know. Grey has sadly not done a Selina origin yet, but plays her already established as the feisty feline, struggling to get by the bleak city. Grey's tone of voice carries the seductress persona, as she plays Selina as fun, snarky, and cool, yet does allow her to express her morally complex feelings too, whenever the plot demands. Surprisingly, she also shares a touching chemistry with Conroy's Batman, just as much as Barbeau's act did.
How shall we celebrate? I know a couple of poor, defenseless museums, but then again, I also know a couple of hotels.
Tonight's not over yet. There's more work to be done.
Of course there is. You do know how to kill the mood.
Grades Allele portrays everything that makes the cat boss. She acts hot, gets dramatic with the bat romance, kicks ass, spouts her epic one-liners, grants Selina depth, generally has a chill demeanor, and totally knocks it out of the cat park. My brother Wolf and I often love pointing out voice actors we recognize, but in spite of hearing Grey's voice, I truly buy her as Catwoman. It took a while to find somebody superior over the awesomeness of Adrianne, but I think Griffin succeeds. This is the #1 Catwoman. And that concludes my top 10. So, what do you think? Are these gals the real cat's meow or what? Who are your top kitty cats? Well, feel free to say so, since right now, I have to go help my darling.
Perfect, my love. Let's go home.
Time for some girl-on-girl action.